What's up, guys? Matt with BAAM Ranch. And what I want to talk to you today about is modern survival. It's a term that gets kind of thrown around and it's kind of lost its meaning. As far as I know, the person who coined that actual term was Jack Spirko. And what it encompasses is not just survival and, making poison frog darts and building bushcraft fires, but actual living in the world we live in today. And all of that stuff seems to be somewhat missing in most of the survival and prepping websites and even YouTubers to some point. And I wanted to talk about that today because I'll be honest with you, it's the entire reason why I started this channel, BAAM Ranch. Kind of the if I were to sum everything up that we do here at BAAM Ranch in a sentence, it would be building more resilient, joyful lives for when things get bad, even if they never do. So modern survival involves doing everything we can to be successful and live good lives now in the modern world. Yes, all of those primitive skills and all of that survival stuff and bug out bags and preparing for the end of the world, absolutely important. And it's a big part. It's the majority of what we talk about, at least here on this channel. But with that being said, I know how to do long division. I can get out a pencil and a paper and do long division all day long, but what do I use? I use a calculator. Same thing with you. We want to talk about, whenever technology ends and all of that, but let's face it, we're living in the modern world. Currently, right now, you're doing the same thing I am. You're staring, cussing at a sideways smartphone. It's the world we live in, social media and the upcoming things with AI and all of that. We have to integrate that into our lives today to actually survive the world we're living in. Because doomsday may never actually happen within our lifetimes, but Tuesday is going to happen every damn week of the month. We see a whole bunch of those, and life happens on a normal, regular basis. I kind of sat down the other day and put together a mission statement for the channel, and this is what I came up with. Empowering resilience, preparedness, self-reliance, and success through practical guidance and community support during good times or bad. And I think that pretty well sums up what the point is that I'm trying to get across and what the actual use case of modern survival actually is. There's plenty of those doomer porn channels that you're going to see out there that, we're good, 72 hours from thermonuclear war, and the entire population will be decimated by the end of next week. Okay, all of those things, yeah, they're important to keep in mind, but if we're not living good today, how do we ever expect to be able to make it till the end of the world? Like I said, doomsday may never come. Tuesday happens every damn week. So let's go over those things that I mentioned. Resilience, resilience, preparedness, self-reliance, and success. Resilience, what is that? Well, it's the mental and physical fortitude and ability to handle something that we may not expect. Without resilience, you don't have resistance. We want to talk about, taking back control and, the Make America Great Again. And we need to go back to back to what this country was founded on. Well, how are you going to have any resistance without resilience? Have you learned the things you needed to do? Are you actually physically capable of withstanding hard times, right? Think about that because that's important. Preparedness. It's making an investment of time, money, and inventory to continue normal life when the status quo changes. So in prepping, we tend to talk about just the inventory. We talk about the food and the water and the bug out bags and the guns and the bullets and the gadgets and the doobers and the gear and all of that. But preparedness is actually a whole lot deeper than that. All of that inventory stuff is the smallest and probably at least in some cases, the least important. Yes, we want to have some food, water set back. We want to do all of that. That goes without being said. You're not watching me if you didn't already know that. So what about the time? Most of the things that we do here, in this whole preparedness community, doesn't require any money. It doesn't require a bunch of junk. It requires time. It requires time of learning. It requires time of actually getting out and doing, learning, getting the muscle memory, getting the reps and sets in on, learning how to do something. If you've never grown a garden before, the first year you do it, it's going to suck, right? If you haven't learned how to cook from scratch with all this, wheat berries and all of that, well, you're not going to be able to do it. You're going to absolutely suck shit whenever you try. And I don't want that to happen, man. I want y'all to be good at it. I want myself to be good at it. And I'm not claiming to be an expert at any of this stuff, but what I can do is let y'all know the things that I've tried and what has worked and what was just an absolute failure. So that's the whole time end of this preparedness. You're going to spend a whole lot more time than you do gear, right? And then money. We've got to have some money. I don't care what you say about, well, money's not going to be any good when the world collapses. Well, it hasn't collapsed yet, dude. You're watching me on a damn smartphone aimed sideways, right? The internet's working. You probably drove a freaking normal vehicle to get somewhere. You're connected. You have technology. The world hasn't collapsed yet. And we still need to be doing good with where we're at right now, right? So having some money figured out, figuring out your finances, entrepreneurship, setting back. There's going to come a time whenever me, my son, who's actually just sitting right over there behind the camera, you, everybody else in the world, there's going to come a time when we're not able to work. You want a prime example? I just had hand surgery. I can't go to work and do my job. I guess I probably could if I had to. If it was an emergency, I'll get done what needs to be done. But guess what? They won't even allow that to happen. So having the money set back to cover something like this. There's a real world example. Having some cash set aside for retirement, having some cash set aside for emergencies, whenever you can't be earning a normal paycheck. And just having all of that balance so that whenever you just happen to find a smoking deal on a brand new rifle, you've got the funds to be able to pick that up. All of that's important. What about self-reliance? What is self-reliance? Well, it's providing your own needs, or at least as many of your needs as you can, without the outside influence of others, and decreasing your dependence on others. It's just taking all of the variables in your life and cutting as many of those out to provide as much of what you need for yourself as possible. Am I telling you to raise a garden and never go to the grocery store and harvest your own chickens and your own beef? No, I'm not. But within reason, what are those outside variables that you can eliminate? Or maybe it's just the fact that you know how to do it and you're doing it really small scale, but knowing that in an instant you can make the decision tomorrow, you're going to ramp that process up and start building that up over the next 1 month, 3 months, 6 months, year. I don't know. You tell me how long that's going to be. But you'll find that, and I discovered this too, that the more self-reliant you get, the more you actually enjoy the things you're doing, right? So everybody talks about, well, when the world ends, I'm going to do this, and we're going to have this, and we're going to do the garden, and we're going to do the rabbits and the chickens. Why don't you just avoid the rush? Collapse now, right? Why don't you just do that now? Whenever the things get bad and I get laid off from my job or whatever, I'll have something to fall back on. But you're not doing that at all right now. I'm not saying you have to make a full-time income off of whatever side gig you had going, but at least do it enough to make it where it's still fun and you still have some clientele and you can build that network to be able to, boom, explode that thing at a moment's notice if you need to. And guess what? You just might screw around and find out that you're going to make more money doing that anyway. Completely eliminating the dependence on somebody else to sign your check. Completely eliminating the dependence on somebody else to tell you when you can go eat lunch. Or no, you can't go take your son to go get fitted for his football stuff. That happened to me just the other day, man. Got a call in the middle of while I was doing something else. Hey, you know Austin's supposed to go get fitted for football pads? No, I didn't. Well, screw it. Let's jump in the truck and head on up there. Right? So self-reliance gives you the freedom to be able to do all of those other things. Success. That was the last thing that I mentioned in my mission statement there. What is success? I don't know. What does it look like for you? It's probably something that you actually need to sit down and figure out what you want. For example, success for me and what my goal is to retire by the time I'm 45. And what does that mean? I'm 38 right now. Retirement to me doesn't mean sitting there watching football, playing the sports balls, watching them play sports ball, and just being lazy the rest of my life. What retirement means to me is I'm doing the things that I would love to do for free anyway. Hell, there's even some things that I would pay to be able to do. I want to be able to take those things, the things that I love doing for free, monetize them, and provide my own income that way. Where I'm just doing whatever the hell I want. I'm doing what I enjoy doing. To me, that's what retirement is. It's not stopping work. It's doing work and then at the end of the day not quite realizing that you were working all day until somebody just happened to stop you one day. Somebody that you knew says, hey, what are you doing for a living now? And it's like, oh, shit, dude. I just realized it. I'm doing exactly what I love to do. I can't tell you what that is for you. I'm still working on trying to figure out what that is for me. But put some irons in the fire. Get a dozen irons in the fire. You don't have to go crazy all out with it, but send out a few feelers and test out what works. Test and see if something works. Maybe that's not what success looks like for you. Maybe success is throwing money in a 401k and working your life away at this 9-to-5 job, or 6 to 3, whatever this job is. Maybe that's what you want to do. And being told that you got to wait, you got to keep doing this and you'll be able to retire at 68 years old. I don't know about you, but that sounds terrible. I don't know, there's a lot of people that are watching this channel right now that if they're honest, they're going to agree. Having to wait until you're 68 years old to retire and do whatever you want, I don't know about you, that sounds terrible to me. That's not what I want to do. Maybe that's what you want to do. I don't know. But figure out what is the point in which you reach success. Is that living the rest of your life off of passive real estate income? Is it continuing doing what you're doing now? Is it entrepreneurship? I don't know. You're going to have to make that decision for yourself. But that's what this whole channel is about. Empowering self-reliance, resilience, success, preparedness. Do all of those things because that's what helps us now while the world's still functioning. And in turn, if something does go bad, boom, it's just a flip of a switch. We're already tuned up, we're already turned on, and we didn't realize the world collapsed because nothing changed about our lives. So think about it. Let me know what you think. And until next time, y'all be safe.